I'm on team let the birth rate plummet to hell. There are so many reasons why this country, many countries around the world, do not deserve more babies. How they treat women, how they treat mothers and children, the political climate, the climate, the cost of living, the cost of childcare, if there is childcare, the cost of housing, if there is any housing. All of this that's we are being our country is being run by petulant children that are also pedos. There are so many reasons not to bring more children into this world, but we're going to go ahead and talk about what's going on. And if more women pull back and say, get someone else to do it, but all the women are saying, get someone else to do it, it's going to transform things. It's currently transforming things. And the countries around the world know and understand what's coming if women decide to opt out. Anyways, let's look at this NPR article. It says people are having fewer kids. Their choice is transforming the world's economy. So this is Ashley, Nick, and Sophia Ivancho. So she says she is one and done, and that is it. All right, it says families in the US and around the world are having fewer children as people make profoundly different decisions about their lives. NPR series, Population Shift How Smaller Families Are Changing the World, explores the causes and implications of this trend. Ashley and Nick Ivancho say raising their 3-year-old Sophia is one of the most joyous things they've ever done. Watching my daughter run around in the yard is otherworldly for me, Ashley said on a recent afternoon in their home in Grand Island, a suburb of Buffalo, New York. But the Ivanchos also made a decision that's increasingly common for families in the US and around the world. One is enough. I don't need another one. I don't want another one. I love having only one child, said Ashley, who works as a financial planner. Her husband, Nick, an Episcopal priest, agreed that big families make less sense in today's economy. It really stacks the chips economically against you. Worldwide, the number of children born to the average family has dropped by more than half since the 1970s, according to the latest UN data. Economists say having fewer children is the norm for many families, especially in relatively prosperous countries like the US. The trend is leading to populations that are dramatically older and beginning to shrink in many of the world's biggest economies. It's wild to see them call the United States a prosperous country when so many people can't even afford food and their rent and childcare. But that's just the inequality here and the averages. There are millionaires and billionaires that are sitting on piles of money, and there's so many other people that are food insecure. This demographic issue is poised to potentially remake so much of our society, said Melissa Kearney, an economist at the University of Notre Dame. Experts say a rapidly aging and gradually shrinking population in the world's wealthiest countries could force sweeping changes in people's lives, causing many to work longer before retirement, making it harder for business owners to find employees, and destabilizing elder care and health insurance programs. Already, women in the 15 countries that account for 75% of global gross domestic product, or GDP, including the US, are having too few children to maintain a stable population. Many of those nations have fallen into the very low category of total fertility rate, identified by the UN as a serious concern. Now we're about to look at this graphic. It is of the top 15 GDP countries fall below population replacement rate. Women in countries accounting for approximately 75% of global GDP are having far fewer children. Populations are aging rapidly, beginning to decline in some countries. So here's the graphic. The purple circles are the top 15 GDP countries. If it's outlined in red, those populations are in decline. If it's outlined in yellow, those countries are in population growth. Over on this side of the line, they're at the replacement level. Everything else below this are below replacement level. Even India is sitting right at 2 children per woman. China is at 1. South Korea is the worst right now at 0.7. America, the United States of America, we need to get it together. We're at 1.62. I think that we can bring that down. Canada is at 1.26, I believe. Italy is pretty low. I think Italy is right around 1. But then on the other end, we have Niger over here. I think it is around 5. No, it's around 6 over here. So it's not too many countries that are over on this side that are over replacement level. Not too many countries are even at replacement level. For the countries below 1.4 births per woman, we see much faster population decline and a pronounced shift in the population age distribution to the older ages, said Vladimira Kantanorova, the UN's chief population scientist. The rates of births per woman in the US dropped to 1.6 in 2024, the lowest ever. And like I've already said, ladies, I think that we could do better in the United States. In China, Japan, Italy, and South Korea, deaths have already outpaced births. Demographers say more high-income countries could face population decline if not for high rates of immigration. We seem to be kind of watching a science fiction novel, said Nicholas Eberstadt, an economist at the American Enterprise Institute, a conservative-leaning think tank in Washington, D.C. According to Eberstadt, worker shortages, shrinking numbers of young consumers, and a growing wave of elderly retirees relying on pension and healthcare systems could challenge basic assumptions about global capitalism. This trend is being heightened by the fact that people in the U.S. and many other countries are living longer. The global population of people age 80 or over will triple between 2020 and 2050, according to the World Health Organization. Turning the population pyramid upside down basically upsets the business model, the background music that we've had in our modern lives for as long as we can remember. So it's all about the business. It's all about the money, the pensioners, and all of that. Yet our country, speaking specifically right now about our country, we don't give a good goddamn about the people here right now that can't eat, that can't afford their housing, that are having cars repossessed, that aren't even working right now, but they're talking about the pensions. Like, people just want to eat right now. In one U.S. town, plenty of jobs and few young workers. So this picture, it says, some parts of the U.S. are already feeling the population shift as communities age and begin to shrink. In Franklin County, New York, where storefronts sit empty in Malone, the county seat, the population has declined by roughly 10% since 2010. Half of the counties in the U.S. now have more elderly retirees than children, according to the U.S. Census Bureau data. In the U.S., the world's largest economy, this trend began building for decades. Families started shrinking in the 60s when the average American woman had between 3 and 4 children. That's also before women had access to birth control. Now, according to U.S. Census Bureau and Federal Reserve Bank data, the typical woman will have 1 or 2 children in her lifetime, with a growing number of families opting for no children at all. I think it raises questions about, do we want to be a more dynamic, forward-looking economy where people are optimistic about the future and about their ability to have kids? The thing is, right here, women are having 1 or 2 children. People need to come into the reality of things and not think that women are out here having tons and tons of kids, because it's not true. So when people are talking about SNAP benefits, like don't have 37 kids, women are not having that many kids. People just right now are barely able to even survive just with 1 kid or 0 kids, because that's just how much things cost in the United States. This is 2 different maps. This is 2020 and 2024. More yellow means more children. The purple in the light purple means more seniors. In 2020, there were only 4 of these light purple places. In 2024, there are so many more light purple places because the population is getting older. And you see it's going from more dark yellow to these solid yellows because more and more people are opting to have no kids or just fewer kids. So you can see here how things are changing. I'll get out the way. There we go. I'll get out the way so you can check this out. With fewer children being born, population growth in the United States has already slowed. The population is expected to begin shrinking later this century, according to U.S. Census Bureau projections. Americans are also significantly older, with the median age rising from 28.1 in 1970 to a record high last year of 31.9. Many communities, especially in rural America, face serious demographic challenges. The decline you see here started a long time ago, said Jeremy Evans, head of the Franklin County Industrial Development Agency in rural upstate New York. Franklin County, which lies near the U.S. Canada border, has lost roughly 10% of its population since 2010. Some of that is due to young people leaving, but so few babies are born here that the local hospital closed its maternity ward 3 years ago. According to Evans, there are plenty of good jobs with an unemployment rate of just 3.8, but not enough workers to fill them. It became obvious. We have to make this the number one focus, he said. Our number one mission is attracting 18 to 39-year-olds, he said. But economists say recruiting young people will get harder nationwide as smaller families continue to transform the American population. Last year, the number of children in the United States declined slightly, while the number of seniors surged to 61 million. So I'm not going to do this whole article. I'm going to end with this screenshot and give my ending thoughts. All right, it says Eberstadt at the American Enterprise Institute thinks the population shift could destabilize key U.S. programs that underpin the economy, including Social Security and Medicare. The way public finances are organized makes no sense if you're heading into an aging, shrinking world, he said. Many experts told NPR the shift toward an older, smaller population with fewer working-age residents will accelerate if the U.S. maintains strict new limits on migrants imposed by the Trump administration. Also, one of the reasons why we have a shrinking population or a shrinking birth rate is because teenagers are having fewer kids, and also because the 20-something girls are actually going off to college and focused on getting a job. Right now, the economy is so jacked up. So many people are getting fired left and right. Social safety nets are disappearing. Why anybody with sense would have kids right now is beyond me. Of course, we're going to have a shrinking population. Healthcare is being snatched. People are going to be dying unnecessarily because of this administration. And on top of that, the administration is deporting a bunch of people. This country is about to have a population decline, and it's about to come a lot faster than these people think. Y'all know that this is a topic that gets me riled up, but go ahead and chime in and let me know your thoughts, like, comment, and share.